On today's episode of i-Dentity, engineer extraordinaire Craig Wing joins us for coffee. We spend time with the Baha'i community in their tranquility zone. In our What's Happening segment, we review the My Life List app. We also check out a website that is designed to help you know more about your car. And We Will Worship wraps up the show.
I am an individual with an imagination. My inner faith illuminates innovations. In a space with infinite inspiration, I was born free from all incarceration. Incredible, living infallibly, intelligent, outshine with my inner being. This is me, impeccable as ever been. I am you, you are me. This is my identity.
Good morning, South Africa, and welcome to i-Dentity, the hippest multi-faith youth show that will certainly fire up your Sunday. My name is Mpumi Mbethe. Yesterday marked the start of Ramadan, which is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. Muslims worldwide observe this as a month of fasting from dawn until sunset. Based on the visual sightings of the crescent moon, the month lasts 29 to 30 days, and this annual observation is regarded as one of the 5 pillars of Islam. During the fasting hours, Muslims refrain from consuming food, drinking liquids, amongst other things. Ramadan observation also includes the increased offering of prayers and recitation of the Quran. We would like to wish our Muslim brothers and sisters a blessed Ramadan. Sine lagu i-Dentity siyaticapha ngekulethela tindzaba leti kukhuthatako kutsi nawe utfutfukise yakho impilo. Namhla sikuphathele kona noko. Asiqale ngekubuka sivakashisa lomuhla. Hard work, determination, and passion are always at the forefront of a fruitful and successful life. Our guest today embodies these ideals. At a very young age, Craig managed to start 3 companies. Focal Point Engineering, a software venture that is aimed to help partially sighted children. Wingnuts Consulting, which helped launch the Center of Entrepreneurship at the University of the Witwatersrand, as well as Clean Tech U. Through Clean Tech U, he managed to raise over $200,000, launched it at 6 United States universities and 2 Chinese universities. Craig is also a board member of the Babson Social Innovation Lab, Brightest Young Minds, Moving into Dance Midtown, and SA Women in Engineering. Wow. Welcome to i-Dentity, Craig.
Very much appreciated.
That is a whole lot. How many hours in a day do you have?
Well, same as everyone else. I guess it's just a question of how you use those hours.
And tell me about your childhood. A Chinese kid growing up in Alberton. Take me through those years.
Well, it's a very interesting thing, you know. During those times when I was growing up, I grew up during the apartheid days, right? And during that time, it was very difficult to be non-white, let's put it that way. Going to an English school, it was a difficult time, specifically when you don't understand what's going on culturally or contextually as a child. You know, there were times where there was a lot of racial abuse and you know, slurs that came away, but as a child you're like, well, people are just being mean. Why are they being mean? And that was it. But really through those formative years, I suppose, it was really a question of really understanding who I was, but more importantly who I wasn't. And I think growing up as a child like that, you start seeing the world through the people that you associate with. And so I viewed the world as my peers and as my friends. But it was a very interesting period of time. A good time, obviously, you know, to learn about myself and more importantly, to see the world.
But were you raised in a religious, spiritual home? How did faith, what role did faith play during those years?
Yeah, you know, I was raised in a Christian home. My grandmother and my aunt in particular ensured that I went to church. You know, and from a very young age, from 4 or 5 years old, I went to church. It became a cornerstone of my life and really my beliefs. And my Christian beliefs really extended up until where I am right now. And those are certain values, you know, things like putting other people before yourselves, really trying to be humble, really trying to do what's best for the world. So religion played a big role in my life, specifically Christianity, and the role of my belief that, you know, that everyone has a chance and everyone deserves to be given a fair right.
And when you completed your studies at the Witwatersrand, you went all the way to the United States. Tell me about that trip. How did it come about and what happened during those years there?
Yeah, so there was the stage where I had my second company, Wingnuts Engineering. And part of that journey was for me to try to identify, how do I move from being an engineer to a business person? Up until that stage, I'd pretty much been bumping in the dark, trying to work out things by myself. And I realized I really wanted to formalize my business education. What other way of doing it than doing an MBA? And so I applied to a number of universities overseas, not local. The rationale for that wasn't because I didn't think the local ones were good enough, but specifically because I wanted to challenge myself on a global scale. And it was an incredible time of my life, specifically because it allowed me to question everything that I'd known to be true up to that point, and evaluate what's better, what's best, what's right, what's wrong.
What would you say the South African business market is like at the moment?
Current business market, I think, is a difficult one. There's a lot of talk that unfortunately we're heading into a recession, which is defined by the academics as 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. It's a problem. It's a problem mostly because we don't create enough jobs. But it's an easy thing to say we don't create enough jobs. It's more specific to say, how do we create those jobs? I don't believe the mandate by saying just creating a job is good enough. I think the real driver for that will be creating more small businesses. Small businesses are the ones who create jobs, more so than corporations. When you look at recessionary times, and whether this is the US or Europe, big companies scale down a lot quicker. And so the people at risk are in the numbers of thousands, tens of thousands. Small businesses is where they thrive and they come up. So we need more small businesses, and that's the driver.
Craig, you've traveled not only to the US and Europe, you've also traveled to Ghana and Mauritius. Tell me, how has all this traveling influenced your beliefs and, experiencing diverse cultures from different nations?
Yeah, it's interesting. All the places that I've been to, but even more than just places, all the experiences really open up your view on the world. Right? And going to all these other places, what I've done is I've deliberately tried to see the world through the locals' point of view. So not as a visitor, not as a guest. I try not to just stay in the hotels. I try not just to go to the fancy places, but really walk in the streets, take local transport. Part of that is to expose me to how life is viewed as someone from that country. It's really important that I do those things because it opens up my view of how things are done. It also challenges my beliefs. It's an incredible experience to go to a country to eat the food that the locals would eat, to take the same kind of transport, to really encourage yourself or to push yourself to understand the world from their point of view. That then reinforces the things that you may know that are correct or that are incorrect. Right? And then you have to be very smart about saying what's best for me and what's best for my context.
Who inspires you?
I think my 2 inspirational forces were my 2 grandmothers. Right? Both my grandfathers passed away, one before I was born, the other one when I was very young. And seeing how they, I don't want to say struggle, but how they adapted through life. Right? It wasn't very easy. They were immigrants, they tried their best. They had a big family, they had lots of kids, but they always put their children first. The one grand that I mentioned before was very influential in me becoming a Christian. Really understanding how her faith served us so well was an inspiration.
There are kids out there watching us today who are not encouraged to go into the fields that you have been studying, from IT to business, and they're not even thinking pursuing an MBA. What would you say to that young person?
What I'd say to that young person trying to work their way in life is think of what the world is going to be like in 15 years, in 10 years. Not the world that you see now, not the world that your parents are in. What do you think the world is going to be? And then go and create it. Find something that gives you the basic skills that you can learn. And that's the key. Find something where you'll carry on learning.
And I have a magic if game to tap on the other side of Craig's brain. If you lost your voice, how would you communicate?
Well, for starters, I think a lot of people would be very happy if I lost my voice. So I think that's the biggest thing. How would I communicate? Hopefully through illustrations and drawing, but I can't draw to save my life, so it'll be a really it'll be a really bad experience of Pictionary where people were constantly misunderstanding what I was saying. But I think that's probably the way that I try to communicate.
If you had all the money in the world, who would you spend it on?
I'd probably see if there's a way that we can grow that finance.
And if the world was ending tomorrow, what's the last thing you would do?
Get out of bed.
If you won an Oscar, who would you thank first in your speech?
Man, like all things, I think I'd probably thank I'd thank God and I'd thank my parents.
And if you could live in someone's mind for a whole week, who would that be?
Stephen Hawking.
If you were a movie, what genre would that movie be?
I think it would be a good mixture of a little bit of action, a bit of comedy.
I think you would make a very good biography. Thank you so much. Thank you, Craig. Thanks for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Craig certainly makes me proud to be South African. Ngiyangijabulisa kubona abantu labasha labasebenta ngekutimisela kuthuthukisa timpilo talabanye. Simfisela lokuhle kuCraig silithimba le-Identity. Sisajika etitolo. When we come back, we head to North Riding in Johannesburg to spend some peaceful time with the Baha'i community. Unganyakati.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
Ngiphinze ngikwamukele usabukele i-Identity. Sibonge ukuthi ukhethe kuhlala nathi. It's now time for this week's Encounters Insert. Our team received a video message on our Facebook page. It's an invitation from a member of the Baha'i community in Johannesburg. Her name is Onke Dumeko, and this is what she had to say.
Hi Identity, my name is Onke and I'd like to invite your team to come and join us for the Tranquility Zones, which happen at the Baha'i Center. These Tranquility Zone devotionals happen once a month and they're really a space for like-minded souls to come together and be spiritually uplifted. I really hope you guys will be able to join us on this meditative experience. Hope to see you soon.
Well, as you know, Identity is all about spiritual upliftment, so we were more than happy to honor Onke's invitation. Take a look at what our team and Onke captured.
This is my identity.
Hi Identity viewers, my name is Onke Dumeko and I am a member of the Johannesburg Baha'i community. When you live in the hustle and bustle of the world we live in today in a city like Johannesburg, you often need an opportunity to refresh your mind and revitalize your spirit. The Tranquility Zone devotionals held at the National Baha'i Center in Johannesburg offer such an opportunity. Today I'd like to invite you to experience the Tranquility Zone with me. Come with me. Now I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Roya Shams, who is the facilitator and coordinator of the Tranquility Zones. Hi, Dr. Shams.
Hi, nice.
Nice to see you too.
Nice, thank you.
Dr. Shams, tell us about the Tranquility Zones. What are they and how did they come about?
Yes. Tranquility Zone is an initiative of the Baha'i community of Johannesburg, which I have the privilege of holding these programs once a month. It consists of a time that we dedicate to our soul. The program consists of selection of very, very uplifting quotations from all major religions of the world. And in this program, we read these quotations in absolute reverence towards the author of these quotations, which are the prophets and manifestations of God. So when you enter to this program, you realize that the Baha'is, we believe in all the religions of the past. We totally respect them. And we realize that the message of all the religions have been always the same. And as humanity has progressed, God has sent his manifestation for the education of the spirituality of humanity, the time in time. We realize that we are all the same created creatures of God, and we need these quotations, these writings for education of ourselves.
What can we expect from today's Tranquility Zone?
Well, today, for example, the topic is on health and healing. It explains that how we have to dedicate to the principle of healing of ourselves, paying attention to our physical and spiritual health. One of the principles of the Baha'i faith is the progressive revelation. And Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, explains that God sends his message the time in time for the progress of humanity. And through these writings, today you will realize how I'm trying to explain these beautiful principles of the faith.
Thank you, Dr. Shams. That's incredible. Well, viewers, I can't wait for you to also share this experience with me of the Tranquility Zone. So without wasting any further time, let's go inside and get some spiritual refueling.
Oh, my Lord,
component of the devotionals is when the Johannesburg Baha'i Choir comes and performs. With me now is a member of the Baha'i Choir, Mlingane Poswayo. Mli, what role do you think the Baha'i Choir plays during the Tranquility Zones?
One of the Baha'i teachings is that music is the ladder of the soul. So I see the role of the Johannesburg Baha'i Choir as in twofold ways. That one is to give a platform for the youth to be uplifted and to express themselves. And the second part is to give service to the community. And indeed, the Baha'i Choir forms an essential part of the Tranquility Zone because people are uplifted by the music, which is based on Baha'i writings and prayers.
You mentioned the community. What role do you think the youth who are part of the community play in initiatives such as the Tranquility Zone?
I think it brings people together from different walks of life, from different religions, and that is something much needed for our South African community because we come from a past where we were not integrated. So this platform really uplifts youth, but also it gives them an opportunity to participate in a global society.
Now I'm joined by Didi Kuno, who's also a member of the Baha'i Choir. Didi, what does being part of an event such as a Tranquility Zone mean for you?
It's quite important to me because a Tranquility Zone gives you the time and the allowance to sort of reflect on what you've experienced throughout the week and put things into perspective, through reading inspiring spiritual words and listening to, inspiring music. It gives you the platform to sort of release yourself from the hustle and bustle of the city and kind of focus on your spirituality and spiritual upliftment.
I just want to get an insight from someone who comes to the Tranquility Zones regularly. So, Ariel, do you want to chat to me for a second?
Sure.
So, Ariel, tell me, how long have you been coming to the Tranquility Zones and what do they mean to you?
It's been about 1.5 years now since I moved up to Joburg. And they just are a space where I can feel inspired and share that with other people. I think it's essential that we feed the spiritual sides to our nature. And this is a great open space to just connect with that. There's no confinements or rules or anything like that. So I really enjoy it, and I think that I would definitely encourage everybody out there to feed that side of their soul.
It's been a refreshing afternoon and I really feel pumped and ready to take on the week ahead. Thank you so much for spending time with me and I hope to see you at a future Tranquility Zone. Now that's it from me, so it's back to Mpumi in the studio. Bye.
In the midst of the hustle and bustle, one needs to take a moment to just reconnect with one's spirit. We commend the Baha'i community on this wonderful initiative that they have brought to their community. When we return, we will jump straight into our fun-packed What's Happening segment. Stay tuned.
This is my identity. This is my identity.
You are still tuned into i-Dentity. If you have just joined us, here's what you missed. We kick-started the show with engineer and entrepreneur Craig Wing. Our regional story saw us spending time with the Baha'i community in Johannesburg as we refreshed our spirits. It's about that time when you get to take out your gadgets and let's get techno-savvy with our media reviews. Here is What's Happening. Time is a commodity that can never be regained, so we must make sure that we spend it fruitfully and wisely, doing things that make us happy. Today's app will help in making sure we stick to our plans. It's called My Life List. This app is derived from the website www.mylifelist.org, a social network for goal achievers. This award-winning interactive web destination challenges people to fulfill their major aspirations by creating a life list. The app will help you achieve some of your life goals. Perhaps you want to learn how to play an instrument, travel the world, or be a DJ for a night. No one wants to forget their goals or achievements. With the My Life List app, you don't ever have to. The app will help you manage your goals, and it also works as your motivator. With the features, you can choose from more than 150 suggestions or create your own individual goals and arrange them into categories and lists. There is a unique map that will help you trace and remember when a specific goal was achieved. You also have the option to add a picture or video for each goal that you achieve. The app offers daily quotes to keep you motivated. My Life List is a fun and easy app to help tick off goals from your bucket list. Download My Life List today and start celebrating your achievements.
We all know that female drivers are often the butt of bad driving jokes, even when it comes to changing a tire. Well, ladies, today's website review will help you learn all you need to know about your car and get you clued up on motor vehicle terminology. It's www.drivinginheels.co.za.
Birthed by the combination of Vuyi Jabavu's love for cars and her desire to bridge the gap between the motor industry and women drivers, www.drivinginheels.co.za is designed to empower women, help them become more knowledgeable about their cars, and enhance their overall driving experience. It prioritizes the female driver, her lifestyle, and the way she views the motor industry. It gives advice on the nuances of motor vehicles, from simple road safety tips to the more tricky tire changing. Select the Handy Tips tab and get access to the Motoring Jargon Buster, which offers a breakdown of different motoring abbreviations and car terminology. Get some quick tips on how to apply for a learner's or driver's license, as well as suggestions for the wannabe driver. The website also gives access to information on driving while pregnant, as well as driving with the little passengers from birth up to the age of 11. Learn more about the rules of the road by selecting the Law tab. Here you will find information on some of the major laws that apply to drivers in South Africa. So whether you're an avid motorcar enthusiast or know nothing about cars, this website will certainly come in handy. Visit www.drivinginheels.co.za and gear up for a better driving experience.
We here on i-Dentity would like to thank you for spending your 30 minutes with us on this beautiful winter Sunday. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check us out on Instagram. i-Dentity TV show is the name to search for on all 3 platforms. You can also send us an email to identitytvshow@gmail.com. Wrapping up the show is the hip and funky Christian band We Will Worship with their track called Yahweh. Mpumi Mbethe ngihambisana nelithimba le-i-Dentity sikufisela liviki lelinetibusiso. Be more, do more.